Welcome back to the ASUS ROG DreamLeague live from the Monster Energy DreamHack studios, and we just witnessed our second game of the second second main qualifiers. I knew there was another two in there somewhere. And again, actually, the opposite result of the first game, but still similar to a sense that they were both of the games quite one-sided towards the team that won, but we have a tie. We have a tie. So both teams won once. And both teams won convincingly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
why?
If you send Tiny against Bristle, you know, sure they had a try lane but like Paris just got everything in that lane. But like Tiny couldn't even go up and CS. He has 0 armor.
Yeah, that's like the game is lost so early.
Yeah.
They just couldn't never get it back.
And you know how we always say that mind control has like this gigantic impact on the game for basically unknown? He had such a tough lane with his Sand King off lane, and he couldn't have the same kind of impact that we see him have when he plays a hero like Clockwork, for example.
We were talking about as well, like in a similar kind of draft thing, like they picked OD into Viper. Like sure it was, you know, to control Bristleback and that kind of stuff. But if OD doesn't have a good start, like we will see in a second how little impact he has.
Yeah. That's like those heroes, OD and Viper, are pretty much the same. They want to dominate their lane.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they dominate the game. But if they don't dominate the lane, they don't do anything. Just useless.
Yeah, he was running around with a Midas and a 4-staff. And he's just like poor guy. You know?
Well, you mentioned it already. We are going to see a fight. It is time for Shanealytics. He's going to have to deal with it because it's in the paper. Shanealytics on the drawing board.
Welcome back to Shiverlytics, where we're at the drawing board. And
how does that even work?
It's a drawing board, and we are going to look at the last team fight of the game, and basically we just see how little impact OD has with very little farm. Was there any there was very little stages of this game where I thought Unknown could win. Like pretty much. Okay, let's pause. Okay.
0 bases.
So green airplane.
Okay, so he slides in, all ice-like, and he's like, right, let's game.
Let's go.
Let's go, right? So he's mind control blinks in. He has a veil, and he's also blinking with a really good epicenter. So you're like, okay, this fight is looking good. You know, if you didn't see any of the items or know any of this, let's just get rid of all this for a second. All right, that's pretty much gone. All right, so you look at this team fight, and you see the Sand King blink in with epicenter with a veil on. You're like, we got this, yeah?
Yeah, I think those supports are gonna die, and this guy is gonna die.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to disguise.
This guy's gonna die. All right, so let's play and see what happens. All right, so pause. They kill my nuts. Poor guy. He just didn't have a shot.
He's a wisp. He's gonna die.
Didn't.
Always die.
But look how little. Then OD drained all of Necroman's mana, but it didn't actually really do any damage. Yeah. And then straight away, they try and stun again. Like let's just play this clip all the way through, and we can see the carnage that is. Look at the amount of damage they do. It's like. That's it. Now all their spells are used, and it's like, what else can we do?
We got a wisp and he buyback and relocates him. And it's like...
Can we fast forward? And we can just watch, like...
Just watch them suffer.
Yeah. This is how the whole game felt to me, though. You know what I mean? There was so many times... Come with me on Treant, actually. He didn't even overgrow in this team fight. Like, he's just a billion miles away.
This is relaxing someone else.
Yeah. Well... That was a bit of a whooping.
Do you think that there is something in the laning stage that basically Unknown could have changed to have a better outcome?
I mean, they could have get successful ganks with their supports, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't get any. They had like 1 assist on bench, I think.
When they rotated the mid, they sent Ogre mid with only mana for 1 spell once against a Viper.
And that's like, that doesn't do anything.
He threw his concoction at him, or the fiery thing. And basically ran it, and he just walked away, like. Yeah. And then that big team fight mid was actually the huge part of the game. Where they went all in on Sing Sing. Do you remember that one?
I don't remember that one.
They went all in on Sing Sing with the Burrow Strike and everything, and then
they didn't die.
Yeah, he didn't die. It wasn't.
So game 2, or game 3 rather. Great. Game 3, we saw both teams show their strengths. What are we gonna see next? Honestly, is this going to be our even game?
Yeah, this is going to be the most even game ever played. It's going to clash in mid lane.
I think in the second game we saw Burton like completely understand what this is so confusing with all the bees.
Yes.
It really,
I know,
really
it messes with your mind, doesn't it?
Okay. Basically unknown. Burden United, basically unknown. They drafted a very similar style. They picked a tiny, they picked their auras, and they tried to do the same thing. But the Burden United just played exactly against it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like, I mean, they had a different way of playing. I mean, their supports normally are a bit more static in terms of don't need to rotate that much and just win their lanes. The winning of the lanes kind of depended on the rotation of the supports. And normally for basically unknown, that's not the case. They win their lanes for the dual lanes that they have, for the heroes that they've picked without having to move or to rotate or to do anything. They just lane properly.
Yeah, I think when they drafted Wisp Bristleback, they should have known that it was coming down. So they should have changed their strategy accordingly.
Yeah.
But what happened was Ogre had to rotate on his own because they couldn't leave Tiny on his own bottom. So Venge had to stay with him. But like Ogre on his own isn't really going to do much against Viper, so they kind of forced it too much. Maybe should they have stayed and try to farm up the Tiny more, or like what do you do?
I think the big part as well is they're gonna have the first pick now, so the Wisp. I think Wisp is a big problem in these games. So I'm guessing that they're gonna have first pick now because the other team got Wisp. So now they're gonna have Wisp, or they're gonna have to ban it so they get other picks as well.
Who would you pick instead of Wisp? Who's your top pick?
If they ban Wisp and not give it to me, that's hard. For them,
like say for Burden United, like they like their PL, they like their Tiny. You were saying like Sing.
Yeah, both teams seems to like Tiny a lot. So I'm guessing Tiny might be a first pick just to get it fast.
Just in this series, it's like its own kind of meta.
It's like
Mini meta.
Mini meta, super strong. Do you think that Sand King, do you think he knew it was going to go up against the Quap in the tree?
For some reason, I think they were expecting Viper to be safe line.
I have no idea actually.
Yeah, because
it's a very difficult matchup to go for.
Yeah, Viper and Sangies. Yeah, can't do much. I guess the Sandstorm.
You're the rude. You just sit there in the Sandstorm.
I don't know, they picked Sand King as a fourth hero, so they should have been aware of some form of laning. I don't know, like
maybe
he did do some good stuff, mind control. He had some good plays, but it's not the type of hero that we're used to seeing.
When your Bristleback has a 12-minute Crimson Guard.
Yeah, you can't compete with that.
No, you really can't. And like we saw them trying to go on IO, my notes, and it was just like, yeah, they used like three disables, and they still couldn't kill him just because it was ridiculous. And 3 Ant Armor as well.
Yeah.
It's a really nice draft, I think, from Burden United.
Yeah, well, we're going to see if they're going to do it again, though. If they're going to have another nice draft. And the point that I'm trying to make is that the draft has begun. And that means that it's already time for our last game of the night. Doesn't matter who wins. It's going to be our last game. It's the last series. It's the finals. It's going to be deciding which of these two teams is going to make it to the league play. Burden United versus basically unknown. Let's go to our casters.